Good morning everyone. So the topic for today's lecture is separation of the teeth. So today we are going to cover this lecture under the following contents, which include introduction, contacts and contours, and the procedure for formulation of proper contact and contours, which involve matricing, tooth movement, and finally the conclusion. Starting with the introduction, as we know, human teeth are complex anatomical units with its structure and properties, and when we see from the karyogenic aspects, there may be only 20 occlusal surface, but there are 60 contacting proximal and 64 facial and lingual surfaces that are susceptible to decay in the full complement of the tooth. Decay on the proximal, however, occurs mainly due to the faulty interrelationship between the contact area, the marginal ridges, the embrasures, and the gingiva. So the contact is defined as the proximal height of contour of mesial and the distal surface of the tooth that touches its adjacent tooth in the same arch. So when we go for the posterior teeth, the proximal contact area is located in the incisal third of the approximating surfaces of the maxillary and mandibular central incisors, and it is positioned slightly facial to the center of the proximal surface facial-lingually. When we look on the posterior teeth, the contact area is located near the junction of the incisal or occlusal and the middle third or in the middle third. Coming to the contour, so contour is the term used to denote some degree of convexities and concavities on the facial, buccal, lingual, palatal surface of all the teeth that afford protection to the supporting tissue during the mastication. As you can see in this picture, if you do the over contouring of the restoration, so the food deflects from the gingiva, which results in the under stimulation of the supporting tissue. Okay, if we do the under contouring of the tissue, it may cause the irritation of the soft tissue, and the properly contoured restoration provide adequate stimulation of the soft tissue, which result in the healthy condition of the tooth. Coming to the contact and contours, the relationship between the adjacent teeth at their contact areas is not absolutely static, as there is an allowance by the periodontal ligament and the bone elasticity for slight tooth movement in 3 dimensions. However, for practical purposes, this relationship can be considered as fixed. So coming to the types of contours, so there are generally 3 types of contour which we see: the normal contour, the broad contact, and the narrow contact. So creating a contact that is too broad buccolingually or occlusogingivally, in addition to change the tooth anatomy, it will change the anatomy of the interdental cone also. So the normal saddle shaped area will become broadened, and the broadened contact area increases the area susceptibility to future decay. And then creating a contact that is too narrow buccolingually or occlusogingivally, besides changing the anatomy of the tooth, it will also allow food to be impacted vertically or horizontally on the delicate non-keratinized epithelial cone area. So the problem associated with faulty reproduction of contact and contours is the food impaction, the fracture of the restoration, shifting or migration of the untreated tooth, gingival recession, faulty occlusion, and the periodontal complications such as bone loss. Now coming to the procedure for formulation of proper contact and contours, which include the matricing and the tooth movement. Starting with the matricing, matricing is a procedure whereby a temporary wall is created opposite to the axial wall, surrounding area of the tooth structure that were lost during the preparation. And matrix is a device that may be applied to a prepared tooth before the insertion of a restorative material. So coming to the requirement of the matrix, so the requirement of the matrix are: it should be easily inserted and it should be rigid, means it should be immobile during the setting of the restorative material. It may be flexible for anterior restoration. It can be easily removed without fracture of the restoration. It should not adhere or react with material. It should resist condensation pressure. It should not react with soft tissues and not extend more than 2 mm beyond occlusogingival height of the crown. Coming to the component of the matrix, so there are mainly 2 components: a band, which is a piece of metal or a polymeric material used to support and give form to the restoration material during its introduction and hardening, and second is the retainer, which is a device by which the band can be retained in its designated position and the shape. After application of matrix, now coming to the wedge placement. A wedge is a comparable to the dimension of a future gingival embrasure and is chosen and tried. And wedge should be trimmed using the sharp knife. Plastic wedge could be trimmed with sandpaper disc and molded after softening in warm water. Sometimes the wooden wedge is dipped in warm compound and tried until it exactly fits the complemented space. Usually 1 wedge is sufficient. However, more than 1 wedge could be necessary if the configuration of the gingival embrasure cannot be created by only 1 wedge. You can see in this diagram the correct position of the wedge. It should support the matrix bend properly, and these two are the incorrect position of the wedge. Now coming to the tooth movement. Tooth movement is the act of either separating the involved teeth from each other, bringing them closer to each other, or changing their spatial position in one or more dimensions. Coming to the type of tooth movement, so there are two types of tooth movement. First is rapid or immediate tooth movement, and the slow or delayed tooth movement. In rapid or immediate tooth movement, there are two methods, that is the wedge method or the traction method, and slow tooth movement, it can be done with the help of separating wires, oversized temporaries, or orthodontic appliances. Starting with the rapid or immediate tooth movement, it requires a mechanical type of separation. It is a quick and useful method, but if excessively used, it may produce pain due to the rupture of periodontal ligament. So the movement should not exceed 0.2 to 0.5 mm. So it is based on two principles, that is the traction principle and the wedge principle. Starting with the wedge principle, in this the separation is accomplished by the insertion of a pointed wedge shaped device between the tooth in order to create a separation at that point or closure on the opposite proximal side of the involved teeth. The more the wedge moves facially or lingually, the greater will be the separation. So the wedge which we use is mainly either made up of wood or the plastic. So it is a triangular shaped wedge usually made up of medicated wood or the synthetic resin. The base of the triangle will be in contact with the interdental papilla to the gingival margin of the proximal cavity. The two sides of the triangle should coincide with the corresponding two sides, that is mesial and distal, of the gingival embrasure, and the apex of the triangle should coincide with the gingival start of the contact area. As you can see in this picture, this square end is used to secure the grip. The concave side is used to adapt along the entire side of the cervical margin in the interdental space, and the rounded tip should be given to prevent the gingival trauma. The main advantage of wooden wedge are that they can be easily cut and trimmed, and they absorb water intraorally, so that the contact will easily separate, and this also cause them to swell, improving the interproximal retention. And the main advantage of resin wedge is that they can be plastically molded and bent to the correspond with the configuration of the interdental hole. The next method is the traction method. It is always done with a mechanical device like Elliott separator, which engages the proximal surface of the tooth to be separated by means of a holding arm. These are mechanically moved apart, creating separation between the clamped teeth. Now coming to the slow or the delayed tooth movement, when teeth have drifted or tilted considerably, rapid movement of the tooth to a proper position will endanger the periodontal ligament. Therefore, slow tooth movement over a period of week will allow the proper repositioning of the tooth in a physiologic manner. So we can use, as I told you before, we can use the orthodontic bias, bend or oversized temporaries to do the slow movement of the teeth. See, if you do the tooth movement with the slow method, then also it is necessary to use one or more immediate tooth movement technique just before or during the restoration fabrication to create a space and to compensate for the thickness of the bend material if a proximal matrix is involved. So finally, to conclude, the usage of more traditional restoration techniques such as Stoffel-Mayer matrix and wooden wedge in conjunction with the current material may lead to a clinical failure and decreased longevity of these restoration. As a result of the complexity involved with the placement of composite resin in the posterior dentition, novel development of the matrix system technology has emerged, such as improvement in matrix design and interdental separation technique. These innovations have allowed the dentist to achieve the most advantageous proximal contact surfaces and anatomical correct contours. So important for optimum form and function of the dentition, as well as for stimulation and protection of the periodontal complex.